Hey guys, today I will share with you some tips for blending acrylic paint that I bet you don't know yet. Almost everyone shows a linear gradient in one layer, but usually there are many coats of colors in a painting, and the gradient has a complex shape. Therefore, this detailed tutorial will be very useful for you. Stay tuned! Here are the art supplies we need. You can use a fork instead of this palette knife. I'll leave links to the art supplies in the video description below. First, I'm gonna create texture with modeling paste. If you want to skip straight to the blending colors, then rewind this chapter. I'm applying modeling paste with a palette knife, creating a kind of abstract floral pattern. You can find some useful tips of how to create beautiful texture with modeling paste by clicking the link at the top of the screen. As I said earlier, instead of this palette knife, you can use a fork. First, I mix the palette with a spray bottle. I'm using just tap water, nothing more. Then I put paints that you saw in the art supplies list onto the palette. I use regular acrylic paints. I put turquoise, but I won't use it. Then I mixed the paint on top. I also put grey paint on the palettes, which I made in advance by mixing black and white. Now mix the canvas and a brush with a spray bottle. This will also help you to create a smooth color gradient. The brush should be barely wet. I am mixing magenta, ultramarine, and I am adding a little bit of black paint. The paint should be of medium viscosity, semi-liquid in other words. Dilute it with water if necessary, but don't add too much water, otherwise your colors will become faded after drying. The reason I'm adding a little bit of water is that I'm reducing the viscosity of this paint, making it flow a little bit better or make it a little bit more fluid in other words. I am using a flat nylon brush to apply the paint. I am grabbing gray. Now, one thing you will want to stay away from when painting is putting too much paint on the canvas if you're trying to apply an even coat. If you put on too much paint in your canvas, you're going to have streaky brush strokes, lumps of impasto, etc. I'm going to stretch out this paint. I am mixing ultramarine with black. I am grabbing gray. Since my canvas was stored in the wrong way, you can notice it with little paint drops on the canvas. Often it occurs when the paint is applied on an oily or greasy surface, so these drops of paint are not special effect, but a defect that I will correct later on when I am perfecting the color gradients. I am applying light blue violet. I am grabbing white. I'm applying red. I'm grabbing yellow oxides. I'm going to stretch out this paint with a HAKE brush for creating the perfect gradient where colors blend very smoothly into one another. And one trick to doing that is that you can change the direction of your brush work from time to time. Stretch it out in one direction, stretch it out in the other direction. And trick number 2 is that you should have the main direction of your brush work. In my case, it's towards the focal point of the painting. The drying time of acrylic paint is quite rapid, so after I finish stretching out these paints, we'll just take a coffee break for about 15-20 minutes. I'll leave links to the brushes in the video description below. So now that our painting is dry to the touch, and it's really dry enough, it's not 100% dry, but it's good enough for our purposes here. I am free to put on our next coat of acrylic paint. I am often asked in the comments how you can blend the first coat of already dried paint with a new one. The short answer is you cannot. When the paint is dry, that's it. You cannot blend dry paint, but now I will show you how you can put on a second coat of color. Basically, we are going to do the same thing when we were putting the first coat of paint. I'm applying light blue-violet paint with a nylon brush and then blend it with a soft HAKE brush. Now again I'm applying ultramarine with the nylon brush and then blending the paint with a HAKE brush. And so I do the whole second layer like this. I apply paint with the main nylon brush and then I blend it with the HAKE brush. Or if you need to apply one color spot and not completely cover the whole painting, then you do the same. Apply paint with the main brush and then blend it with the HAKE brush. Guys, don't be too hard on yourself if you can't get it right the first time. It looks easy, but it's harder than it looks. I have perfected this skill for years. Therefore, be patient and sooner or later you will succeed. Stretch it out in one direction, stretch it out in the other direction, just to make sure we have a nice even coat of paint here. If you still have any questions, do not hesitate to ask them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video up to the very end. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe. It will motivate me to create more awesome content for you. Bye!